Hello, my name's Evan. Welcome back to the Twist channel. And today we're gonna put on a new light on our Jeep because it doesn't even have lights. We have a lot of work to do, and we're gonna fix it with some tools that my dad has. And our Twist channel is like good, and our Jeep is cool because it looks good. See you later with the Twist channel. See you later, guys.
All right, welcome back to the Twisted ADV channel. My name's Chris, and today we're gonna do a little Jeep upgrade. We're gonna fix some of the lighting issues that we have. And I've got a few things I'd like to show you before we get started on what we're gonna use, what we're gonna need, and hopefully a little bit of the install and my impressions. Today, I got a quick question for you. What do you see wrong with this picture? Now, if you said something like, well, it's missing a third brake light, you're right. Now, you might wonder, is it illegal to be driving around without a third brake light? Here in Oklahoma, you have to have a third brake light as long as it's a modern vehicle, and that's considering everything that's past like 1986. Okay, so what I'm proposing to do is actually add my own third brake light, and that LED strip is just gonna sit right in there. And then another thing I'm going to add is the lighting in the back of the Jeep. It's really poor, and it just doesn't give enough light. It's good for the in the cabin, but it's not so good for the back and the trunk area. So there is another light bar that you can get off of Amazon, and we're going to go ahead and do the install on that as well. But the problem that you have here when looking inside is, look how dark that is. Even I've got daylight and the light shining in from the back, but the light is really only shining to the front and not so much to the back. All right, so a few things that we can do to help try to fix that problem is something that I'm going to do with a little LED strip. Some of the items that you're going to need: a good pair of wire strippers, wire cutters, maybe some zip ties, maybe a multimeter, some extra wire, some butt connectors, or some sort of fully insulated disconnects, and that's so we can take off the top, some heat shrink, some electrical tape. Now the LED strip that we have here, it has a 3M tape on the back, but what you may notice on the LED itself is the LEDs are on the side. So as it's mounted on the vehicle, you will see the red light strip. Also got some Ulenkos pigtails and a latching push button. Okay, so usually when you order things from like Amazon and places like that, you never know how the shipping is going to be, or some of the companies, some of it's bubble wrapped in good packaging, and others it's not so much. But I can't speak highly enough about the packaging that you get from Brawlee. It came in a long tube protected with a cap, and you can see the length of that thing. But what had inside is the actual curved light wrap, and it says curve to match your window. It also came with a connector for the power supply that's in the back, and then it had a parts kit. All right, so before we start on the installation, I have taken the top off, the doors off the Jeep, and so some of this installation has already taken place of the light, the third brake light. And so what I'm going to do is actually just kind of show you how it went on, or at least where it went on, and then how I've wired it so I can disconnect the top from the Jeep. Okay, so the Brawlee light, it just has a 3M taping, and you just peel the back of it off, and you just set it on the inside lip of the glass here, the back glass, and it just sits in. It's actually a kind of a triangular shape, and it sets in real nice. And then you run the cord, and it comes with these these cable management holders, you know, I mean, just like it's got a little 3M taping on the back, and you just put those all alongside, and then you run it up to the top, and then I ran mine back under and through the lip, and then you can see it actually, when it's done, it dangles here just on the other side. And then my other thing here, that is for the third brake light. Okay, so I've got male and female connectors. So let's slide that open. Okay, now there is the LED strip. Again, 3M tape. The wires run down the side along the Brawlee light, and then the light for the LED. And then I just ran them all the way down. Ran them down all the way behind the lip there, so you can't see them. Tucked them up underneath, so then they just peel out just the back side of that. So the option you have to power your Brawlee light is to use the 12-volt adapter, plug it right in to your 12-volt supply, and then run the end of that to the connector that goes to the light. If you want to use the remote that comes with it, then you just plug this in between from the power wire to the light, and then you can use your remote to turn it on and off. Well, I can still use the remote if I decide to plug this in, but my choice was to actually use the switch that I plugged in, and I powered it into the 12-volt power supply, which is a constant power, and I wired it in to where I have power. It gives me the blue LED light using the little connector here for the 19mm wire connect. It does have instructions on always on or LED on when the switch is on, and then it gives you a breakdown of the different wires for the connection. So it's pretty simple. Solder that over into here, ran extensions, pulled that up and ran it to where the wire sits here. So at any point in time, I know it came with a remote and all that good stuff, but for me, I just wanted to have a push button to be able to turn it on or to turn it off. And then that supplies power to here. So I can turn that light on and off at any time without the vehicle running or any other issues. If you don't have the 12-volt power supply here, you can probably run it further on up the cab to the battery, or to another power source if you'd like. Alright, so we have the speaker removed, and this is just to give you a real quick check on. Now I have it where the switch turns on, or give me the light whenever I turn it on. So I used the bottom one here, LED on with switch on. White is to positive of the power, red and blue to positive of the device, black to negative of the device, and to negative of the power, and green is not used. So what I did is I took a little bit of heat shrink, capped the back end of it, sealed it off. Okay, now this black wire is what is for the connector, which I ran to the backside to that. So I just cut the end off of it for the wires. Okay, the red is the positive. It says go to the blue and red of the positive of the device. Okay, so blue and red gets tapped in together. The white I tapped in and I ran it to the power of the 12-volt power supply. Okay, and then the black here, the black off the wire, black goes off and it goes to ground. Okay, and then it goes to the ground of the power. So I have ground from the device, ground from the plug, and then ground to the Ulinquo switch. All right. When I'm looking at the red and the blue here, that's the third brake light power. Third brake light power needs to be tapped into the white and brown wire here. So I got to connect that, and then the black just gets tapped into your ground. No issues there. Brawlee power wire gets strung up to the top so that way it can connect. I just ran it along, tapped it into or zip tied it to the wire loom here. It goes up underneath and then taps into the 12-volt power supply, White goes to the blue and pink, black goes to black, and then I just ran those wires along the bottom side, zip tied, drilled a hole in the bottom, and then just had those connect to the Ulinklo switch. All right, so now we're sitting here, we're ready to put the top back on because I got some rain coming in this week, but this is a perfect time for me to show you how to handle the wires, or how it looks after the install is concerned. So as you can see, whenever we have the top lifted up on the from the Jeep, I have to disconnect the wires, and I've made them long enough to where I can actually get over here and try to connect. So when we're said and done, I can tuck the wires under here and hide them, but then whenever I need them, I can pull them out. And then again, the disconnects are color matched, so that way I don't get anything confused as far as colors are concerned and which one's which, because with having two black wires, it'd probably be pretty quick to get something confused. So male and female connectors, just to keep things from getting crossed over. And so that's how it works as far as taking off the top, making sure I disconnect the wiper and the fluid, and make sure I disconnect the third brake light and the Brawlee. All right, so now just to give you a quick idea of how much light we'll get out of this Brawlee light bar, I went ahead and I've covered the window with my Jeep cover there to block out as much of the light as possible. And we'll go ahead and turn off the lights, give you a quick view of what it's gonna look like. All right, so if you're out in the middle of the night and you're out at the campsite or on the trail and you have your nice skylight going on and the stars or whatever, and you needed to get in back of the Jeep, this is about typical of the amount of light that you would see. So, welcome to the light. Now, isn't that much better? Yeah, so no, it really doesn't work on snaps, but again, using the push button, you do see that it glows. It's pretty easy to spot and see. Now you can use the RF, and I'll give you a real quick view of that, okay? Okay, so as you can see, I do have the RF connected. The light switch is on. Okay, so if I turn it off, no power on, and I hit the little power button on the remote, it's not going to turn the light on. Okay, so just so you're tracking, if you had plugged into your constant 12-volt power supply, it would come on anytime that you hit this. But because of how I wired it, I have to have my switch on, and then I can hit the power button to turn on the light. It's got a few modes to where you can do 100%, 50%, 25%, so you can change the amount of brightness. Okay, it also has a few other buttons here for like different modes and speed. So if you have epileptic seizures or whatnot, I'm sorry about this, but again, you can kind of see how it may come in handy for different things. And then whenever you just want to turn that mode off, you just hit the green button for light and it goes back to standard, and I'll put it back at 100%. Okay. Okay, now as a test, outside of the vehicle, I don't know, I'm probably maybe 10, 15 feet away, and I can still turn it on if needed with the remote. All right, so now for the big reveal, those that were interested or curious about the rear brake light after it's connected, brake light's on, and that's what the brake light will look like as it is lit. Okay, so again, those side facing LEDs or side emitting LEDs, after they're applied with the 3M tape, project outward rather than straight down. If you don't get the side emitting LEDs, a standard LED strip, those lights will be pointed right in the middle of that strip, and they'll be pointed down and they'll point right into the glass. So if you're interested in this mod, be sure to get side emitting LED. All right.
show you without the light. All right, and that's in the darkness. It's very bright, you can see it in the day and at night. All right guys, that's all she wrote. The installation of the Brawlee Liftgate light and the third LED brake light, super simple, super easy, and not that expensive. So I'm very thankful for that. I thought it was a great install. I didn't run into any problems. My thoughts so far, it does great. I mean, look at all of this light. It's awesome. It has those quick disconnects, so I can pop it off whenever I take the top off when I want to run topless. And it's a real quick connect. I can tuck the wires back in, and it's just been great. I want to give a shout out to my little man, Evan, for giving such a great intro. Yes, we now have lights, buddy. And everything's great. So be sure to leave a comment down below. Hit that like button. And if you like what you see, subscribe. I got a few more in the pipeline, and I got a few other videos about bikes and other stuff. So be sure to check us out, and we'll see you again soon. Thanks, guys.